Get your ghetto ass out of my seat. Karen Mitchell's voice cuts through first class like a blade. Flight attendant. Jessica doesn't hesitate. She yanks Dr. Amara Washington up by her blazer, sending her leather purse crashing to the floor. Contents scatter. Phone, wallet, a mysterious black card. You heard her. Move to the back where you belong. Jessica's grip tightens on Amara's arm, fingernails pressing through fabric. This is first class, not the welfare line. Phones emerge, 12 passengers recording, snickering. Look at her trying to act classy, someone whispers. Probably stole that blazer, another adds. Amara, 42, stays perfectly still as Jessica drags her toward the aisle. Her simple pearl earrings catch cabin light. No reaction. No tears. Just calculating silence that unnerves the crowd. The black card lies forgotten on the carpet. For now. Have you ever been humiliated so publicly that revenge became inevitable? Finally, someone with sense. Karen settles back into 2B, filming Amara's humiliation on her phone. I paid $1,200 to sit next to civilized people, not some project rat pretending to have money. Jessica nods approvingly. Ma'am, I completely understand. We'll get this sorted immediately. She turns to Amara with theatrical authority. Your boarding pass, please. Amara reaches for her scattered belongings. The black card slides under seat 1A as she gathers her phone and wallet. Her boarding pass shows clear as day. 2A, first class Diamond Elite status. Jessica barely glances at it. This looks suspicious. Where did you really get this ticket? I purchased it. Amara's voice stays level. With what? EBT card? Karen cackles, still recording. Her live stream to @KarenSpeaksTruth shows 847 viewers and climbing. Comments flood in. She definitely stole that ticket. Look at her trying to act bougie. Welfare queen upgrade LOL. The passenger in 1C joins in. I saw her counting food stamps at the gate. Dead serious. Complete lie. But Jessica's eyes light up. Sir, thank you for speaking up. This confirms my suspicions. Lead flight attendant Michael Rodriguez approaches from business class. Tall, Hispanic, 20-year airline veteran. He's seen this movie before. What's the situation, Jessica? This passenger is refusing to move to her assigned seat in economy. Her ticket looks fraudulent. Jessica holds up Amara's legitimate boarding pass as evidence in court. Michael examines it carefully. The barcode scans properly on his device. First class, Diamond Elite. Paid in full 48 hours ago. But Karen's still filming. The cabin's watching. Jessica's already committed to her narrative. The ticket system sometimes glitches, Michael says reluctantly. Ma'am, would you mind taking seat 31F in economy? We'll ensure you're comfortable. Amara looks at him directly. Something in her gaze makes him shift uncomfortably. I'll stay in my assigned seat, thank you. Look at this attitude, Karen broadcasts to her growing audience, 200 viewers now. This is exactly what's wrong with society. Give them handouts and they think they deserve everything. The businessman in 1A, initially uncomfortable, now nods along. Social pressure is a powerful drug. I'm calling security, Jessica announces, reaching for the aircraft phone. We're at 35,000 feet, Amara observes quietly. They'll be waiting when we land in New York. You're getting arrested for ticket fraud and causing a disturbance. The threat hangs in recycled air. Passengers in business class crane their necks. Word spreads through cabin whispers. Economy passengers start standing, trying to see the drama. @KarenSpeaksTruth hits 2,100 viewers. The comments grow more vicious. She's probably got warrants anyway. Security gonna drag her out. Typical behavior from those people. A teenage girl in 3B looks uncomfortable. Her mother pulls her closer, whispering, See? This is why we work hard for what we have. Even the children are learning. Amara's phone buzzes. Text message. Board meeting pushed to 3 p.m., waiting for your arrival. The sender. Delta Corporate Emergency Line. She silences it without reading on screen. But Jessica notices the brief glow. Phone's probably stolen too, Jessica mutters, loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. The captain's voice crackles over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning our descent into LaGuardia. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin. Perfect timing, Karen addresses her live stream. Y'all about to see some justice when we land. Security's gonna drag Miss Food Stamps right off this plane. The comments explode with laughing, crying emojis and American flag reactions. But something's changed in Amara's posture. She's no longer gathering belongings. Instead, she's sitting back in 2A with the calm of someone who's made a decision. Her fingers hover over her phone's emergency contact list. 3 numbers she's never had to use before. Delta CEO, Direct. LaGuardia Operations Chief. Legal Crisis Management. Jessica mistakes her stillness for defeat. Smart choice. Maybe you learned something today about staying in your lane. Karen pans her camera around the cabin. See that, viewers? Sometimes people need to be reminded of their place. I'm not racist, I'm realistic. Some people just don't belong in first class. The validation from her online audience is intoxicating. 2,847 viewers now. Comments flowing like a digital lynch mob. But Amara isn't defeated. She's calculating. Her thumb hovers over the first emergency contact. The call that will change everything. The call that will transform this aluminum tube of humiliation into a corporate courtroom at 30,000 feet. In 90 seconds, Karen's live stream is about to become evidence in a very different kind of case. The black card remains hidden under seat 1A. For now, the cabin transforms into a gladiator arena. What started as Karen's personal vendetta now infects the entire aircraft like a virus. I'm not sitting near her either, announces the woman in 3A, gathering her Hermes bag protectively. Move her to the very back, away from decent people. Amen, sister. The businessman in 1A raises his phone, joining the recording party. My taxes shouldn't pay for people like this to fly first class. Amara remains motionless in 2A as the mob forms around her. 12 first-class seats become 12 judges, jury, and executioners. The narrow aisle feels like a noose. Jessica basks in her newfound authority. 23 years of serving entitled passengers, and finally, she's the one with power. Ma'am, you're causing a flight disturbance. Federal crime. Do you understand? I understand perfectly. Amara's voice carries a strange undertone. Not submission. Something else entirely. Karen's live stream explodes past 4,000 viewers. Her phone overheats from the traffic. Why don't they just throw her off the plane? This is why I fly private. Someone call ICE? Probably illegal anyway. Drag her by her fake weave. Y'all are killing me with these comments. Karen cackles into her camera. But seriously, this is what happens when society goes soft. People forget their place. The teenage girl in 3B looks sick. Her mother notices and snaps, "Don't you dare feel sorry for her. This is a life lesson about consequences." Even the children's innocence becomes collateral damage. Business class passengers crowd the aisle divider. The story spreads through whispers like wildfire. By row 12, it's become, some woman tried to hijack first class with a fake ticket. By row 20, terrorist with stolen identity caught on plane. Economy. We might have to make an emergency landing. Truth dies in the telephone game of bias. The captain's voice cuts through chaos. Flight attendants, prepare for descent. We'll be on the ground in 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Jessica's window of authority is closing. That's it, I'm making the call. She reaches for the aircraft security phone. LaGuardia Ground Control, this is Delta Flight 1247. We have a disruptive passenger situation, requesting security and police upon arrival. The words echo through the cabin speaker system. Every passenger hears it. Official. Recorded. No taking it back now. Amara's phone buzzes again. This time she glances at the screen openly. Urgent. Board meeting moved to emergency session. Delta stock down 1.2%. Need an immediate statement. She silences it. But the businessman in 1A catches a glimpse of the message. Board meeting? He squints. What kind of con is she running now? Jessica overhears. Probably pretending to be some executive. These people have no shame. Karen pivots her camera toward Amara's phone. Viewers, she's literally pretending to be in some board meeting. The delusion is real. The comments go nuclear. Oscar-worthy performance. Someone needs to check her for drugs. Mental health crisis at 35,000 feet. But something shifts in Amara's demeanor. She stops trying to gather her belongings. Instead, she settles back into seat 2A like she owns it. Because she does. Her thumb scrolls through her emergency contacts. 3 numbers that have never been dialed from this altitude. Delta CEO Personal, Richard Carter. LaGuardia Operations Director, Sarah Walsh. Corporate Legal Crisis Team. The irony isn't lost on her. They're about to land at an airport where she sits on the board of directors. They're flying an airline where she controls 23% of the voting shares. But nobody knows that yet. Look at her sitting there like she belongs, Karen narrates to 5,200 viewers. The audacity is unbelievable. This is what participation trophies create, people. Entitlement without accomplishment. The validation from her audience is cocaine-pure dopamine. She's gone viral. Her follower count jumps from 2,000 to 8,000 in real time. Fame built on someone else's humiliation. Jessica announces over the intercom, "Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the delay in service. We're dealing with a passenger situation that will be resolved upon landing." The cabin erupts in supportive applause. Amara sits in the center of it like a bullseye. "Finally, someone is taking action," shouts a voice from the economy. "Thank you for keeping us safe," yells another. They're not just tolerating the discrimination, they're celebrating it. The captain's voice returns. "Flight attendants, final approach. 8 minutes to landing. 8 minutes until Karen's live stream becomes evidence. 8 minutes until Jessica's career ends. 8 minutes until this aluminum tube of hatred lands in Amara's jurisdiction." The black card still lies hidden under seat 1A. But Amara doesn't need it anymore. She has something more powerful now. She has documentation, witnesses, a federal incident report filed in her name, and she has 8 minutes to decide how merciful she wants to be. Her finger hovers over Delta CEO Personal, Richard Carter, who owes his job to her company's board vote 3 years ago, who calls her Dr. Washington in private meetings, who has no idea she's currently being dragged through cabin dirt by his own employees. The irony tastes like bitter champagne. "Ma'am," Jessica looms over her with newfound confidence, "when we land, you'll be escorted off this aircraft in handcuffs. I hope it was worth it." Amara looks up at her. Really look at her. Jessica mistakes eye contact for fear. It's not fear. It's calculation. "Jessica," Amara says quietly, using her name for the first time. "Do you enjoy your job?" The question hangs in pressurized air like a sword. 6 minutes to landing. 6 minutes to accountability. 6 minutes until the most viral discrimination video of the year becomes a corporate disaster worth hundreds of millions. Karen's live stream hits 6,847 viewers as the plane descends toward LaGuardia. None of them know they're about to witness the most expensive 8 minutes in aviation history. 4 minutes to landing. Amara makes the call. Her thumb presses Delta CEO Personal. The phone rings once. "Richard, this is Amara Washington." The name stops Jessica mid-sentence. Her mouth opens, but no sound emerges. "I'm currently on flight 147, seat 2A. Your flight attendant, Jessica Martinez, has just filed a federal incident report claiming I'm flying on fraudulent documents. The cabin goes cemetery quiet. Karen's live stream captures every word. Yes, that Amara Washington, Washington Holdings, your largest shareholder. Jessica's face drains of color like someone pulled a plug. The phone shakes in her hand as she realizes whose arm she grabbed, whose purse she sent crashing to the floor, whose career she just ended. Richard Carter's voice carries through the phone speaker, loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. Dr. Washington, I am so sorry. This is absolutely unacceptable. I'm calling the flight crew immediately. But Amara isn't finished. Richard, patch in Sarah Walsh from LaGuardia Operations and get corporate legal on this call, now. Within 30 seconds, the aircraft phone rings. Jessica stares at it like a venomous snake. Answer it, Amara says calmly. Jessica's hand trembles as she lifts the receiver. This is Jessica Martinez. Ms. Martinez, this is Richard Carter, CEO of Delta Airlines. You've just humiliated our most important board member and largest individual shareholder. You're terminated, effective immediately. The phone slips from Jessica's fingers. Karen's live stream explodes. 8,000 viewers become 12,000 in seconds. But the comments have shifted. Holy shit, she's actually rich. This is about to get good. Karen about to get wrecked. I can't look away. The businessman in 1A frantically deletes his recording. Too late. Everything's already uploaded to cloud storage. Wait, Karen stammers, still filming but her confidence cracking. How do we know this isn't fake? Anyone can pretend to... Amara's phone buzzes with an incoming call. The screen displays LaGuardia Operations, Director Sarah Walsh. She answers the speaker. Dr. Washington, this is Sarah. I'm so embarrassed. We have security standing by, but they're waiting for your instructions. How would you like us to handle this situation? The power dynamic doesn't just shift, it completely inverts. Every passenger who was recording Amara's humiliation suddenly realizes they've documented their own complicity in discriminating against someone who could destroy their lives with a phone call. Michael Rodriguez, the lead flight attendant, appears like a ghost. His 20-year career flashes before his eyes as he approaches seat 2A. Dr. Washington, his voice barely a whisper. I had no idea. Please accept my deepest... Michael. Amara's tone is boardroom cold. You knew that boarding pass was legitimate. You scanned it yourself, but you chose convenience over integrity. He nods, unable to speak. Ma'am, Sarah Walsh's voice continues over speaker. We've reviewed the security footage from boarding. We have everything documented. What are your instructions? Karen's live stream chat goes absolutely insane. She owns the airport too? Karen just messed with the wrong one. This is better than Netflix. R.I.P. Karen's whole life. But Karen isn't ready to surrender. Desperation makes people dangerous. This is all fake, she shouts at her phone camera. She's probably some scam artist with fake phone numbers. Don't fall for this setup, people. Her remaining supporters in the chat cling to denial. Has to be staged. No way this is real. Crisis actors everywhere. Amara ends the call with Sarah and dials another number. This one rings on the speaker immediately. Washington Holdings Legal Department. This is Attorney Janet Morrison. Janet, I need immediate documentation. I'm currently on Delta Flight 1247. I've been subjected to racial discrimination, physical assault, and false federal reporting by airline staff and passengers. I need litigation packets prepared for everyone involved. Yes, ma'am. We'll have preliminary paperwork ready before your plane reaches the gate. Are you recording this incident? Amara gestures toward the phones still filming throughout the cabin. We have approximately 15 different video angles from passenger devices, plus aircraft security cameras, plus a live stream with 12,000 viewers. Janet's laugh is sharp as a scalpel. Excellent. We'll start with federal discrimination violations. then move to assault, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. I'll prepare cease and desist orders for any social media posts. Karen's phone nearly slips from her shaking hands. Her live stream viewers watch her face transform from confident racism to dawning terror. She's about to get sued. Delete everything, Karen! Too late. It's all recorded. Lawyer up, sis. The teenage girl in 3B looks at her mother with new eyes. Mom, you said she was lying. Her mother has no answer. The life lesson just became much more expensive than anticipated. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackles over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on final approach to LaGuardia. Flight attendants, please prepare for arrival. But there's something different in his tone. Strained. Like he's just received very interesting information from air traffic control. Amara pockets her phone and addresses the cabin directly for the first time. My name is Dr. Amara Washington. I'm the CEO of Washington Holdings, which owns 23% of Delta Airlines voting shares. I also serve on the board of directors for LaGuardia Airport Authority. The silence is so complete you could hear a pin drop in the economy. Today, you witnessed and participated in racial discrimination at 35,000 feet. You filmed it. You celebrated it. You taught your children that humiliating another human being is entertainment. Several passengers start deleting videos from their phones. The sound of frantic swiping fills the cabin. But here's what you didn't know, Amara continues, her voice carrying the authority that comes from controlling billions in assets. Every single one of those recordings is evidence. Every social media post is documentation. Every comment is admissible in federal court. Karen's live stream viewer count hits 15,000. But she's no longer celebrating. She's watching her life implode in real time. The aircraft we're currently flying, Amara announces, is owned by Washington Aviation Leasing, my subsidiary. You've been discriminating against me inside my own airplane. The irony lands like a sledgehammer. Jessica collapses into a jump seat, fired and facing federal charges. Karen's phone trembles as she realizes her viral moment just became a legal nightmare. The businessman in 1A mentally calculates how much his mortgage costs versus fighting a discrimination lawsuit. 2 minutes to landing. 2 minutes until this aluminum tube of hatred touches down in Amara's jurisdiction, surrounded by her security, covered by her lawyers. The black card finally slides out from under seat 1A as the plane descends. American Express Centurion. Invitation only. $500,000 spending limit. Karen sees it and makes one final desperate play. That card's probably stolen too. Amara picks it up, examines it calmly, then looks directly into Karen's live stream camera. Karen Mitchell of Atlanta, Georgia. You've just accused me of credit card fraud on a live stream with 15,000 witnesses. Janet? The lawyer's voice comes through crystal clear. Added to the lawsuit, Dr. Washington. The plane's wheels touch the LaGuardia runway. Game over. The plane taxis to gate A12. Through the windows, passengers see an unusual welcome committee, 12 black SUVs, news crews, and airport security forming a perimeter. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated, Captain Rodriguez announces. His voice carries new respect. We're holding at the gate for a priority passenger departure. Amara opens her laptop. The airplane's Wi-Fi connects her to corporate war rooms across 3 time zones. On screen, Delta's stock price dropping in real time, down 2.7% and falling. $847 million in market cap evaporated in 30 minutes. Janet, she says to her lawyer via video conference, what's our exposure analysis? Janet Morrison appears on screen from Washington Holdings' legal department. Behind her, a team of attorneys reviews federal discrimination statutes. Dr. Washington, we have clear violations of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title VII, Workplace Discrimination, and Federal Aviation Safety Regulations, but that's just the beginning. She pulls up financial projections on multiple screens. Delta Airlines, annual revenue $58.4 billion. Washington Holdings owns 23% voting shares, valued at $3.2 billion. Our leasing contracts with Delta total $847 million annually across 127 aircraft. The numbers hit the cabin like a financial hurricane. LaGuardia Airport Authority. We lease concession space worth $145 million yearly. You serve on their board. Your vote controls their next $2.8 billion runway expansion project. Additionally, Janet continues, your foundation holds $890 million in American Airlines stock, $1.2 billion in United Holdings, and controlling interests in 14 regional carriers. Your word could trigger industry-wide boycotts worth $12.7 billion annually. Karen's live stream audience watches her realize she didn't just insult a CEO, she declared war on a financial empire that controls much of American aviation. Comments flood in. She's about to lose everything. This is what generational wealth looks like. Karen picked the wrong billionaire. She owns the whole industry. This is better than any movie. Richard Carter's voice crackles through the airplane's communication system. Dr. Washington, I have emergency board members standing by. What are your demands? Amara's response is surgical in its precision. Demand 1. Immediate termination of Jessica Martinez and Michael Rodriguez. Full pension forfeiture. Industry-wide blacklisting through Airline Association databases. Additionally, termination of every employee who participated in or encouraged this discrimination. She gestures toward the passengers who joined the assault. Your gate agents who ignored my Diamond Elite status, your ground crew who allowed this boarding chaos, your customer service representatives who failed to intervene when contacted. Clean house, Richard. Jessica sobs in her jump seat. 23 years of service evaporated because she couldn't see past skin color to check a boarding pass. Demand 2. Mandatory unconscious bias training for all 95,000 Delta employees. Budget allocation, $47 million over 18 months. Third-party oversight by diversity consultants of my choosing. Harvard Business School will design the curriculum. Failure to complete training results in immediate termination. The business calculus is brutal. Discrimination just became Delta's most expensive training program in company history. Furthermore, Amara continues, quarterly bias audits for all customer-facing roles. Anonymous passenger feedback systems. Discrimination complaint response time. Under 2 hours, not 2 weeks. Demand 3. Installation of Equal Sky reporting system on all 900-plus aircraft. Passengers report discrimination directly to corporate via seatback screens. Response time guarantee, under 4 minutes. AI monitoring of all cabin interactions through existing security cameras. Richard's voice wavers. Dr. Washington, those modifications alone would cost $127 million across the fleet, Amara interrupts. I've already run the numbers. Consider it an investment in not losing your largest shareholder. She opens another laptop screen. Live feed from Washington Holdings boardroom, where 12 executives sit around a mahogany table worth more than most people's houses. Gentlemen, she addresses them, I'm calling an emergency vote on Contract Amendment 847 Delta. All in favor of immediate cancellation of our $847 million annual leasing agreement? 11 hands raise instantly. Only one abstention, hers. Motion carries. Janet, please draft termination papers effective in 72 hours unless compliance with my demands is documented. The threat lands like a nuclear bomb. Delta without Washington Holdings aircraft leasing would ground 127 planes, 20% of their domestic fleet. But Amara isn't finished escalating. Marcus, she calls to her PR director, initiate Protocol 7. Marcus Thompson's face goes pale. Dr. Washington, are you certain? Protocol 7 is... Complete industry coordination. Contact the CEOs of American, United, Southwest, and JetBlue. Inform them that any airline hiring discriminatory Delta employees will lose Washington Holdings partnerships. The cabin collectively gasps. She just weaponized the entire industry against discrimination. Additionally, contact our friends at Boeing and Airbus. Any manufacturer selling aircraft to airlines with documented discrimination problems will face lease cancellations across our portfolio. Karen's phone shows 21,000 viewers now. Her comment section has become a real-time business school case study. This is how corporate power actually works. She just moved billions like it's chess pieces. Karen cost Delta almost $1 billion. This woman controls the whole industry. I'm scared and I'm just watching. Sarah Walsh from LaGuardia Operations patches in. Dr. Washington, we have CNN, Fox Business, Bloomberg, and BBC requesting statements. The White House Transportation Office is also asking for comment. Full transparency, Sarah. Release the cabin footage to all networks. Let America see what discrimination looks like at 35,000 feet. Schedule press conference for 6 p.m. I want prime-time coverage. The cabin collectively gasps. Their humiliation of Amara will be broadcast nationally within hours. The businessman in 1A realizes his company does $12 million in business with Washington Holdings annually. His mortgage suddenly feels very expensive. His children's college funds flash before his eyes. Dr. Washington, Richard Carter tries to negotiate. Perhaps we could handle this internally? Quiet settlement? Sealed records? Her laugh is sharp enough to cut glass. Richard, you misunderstand. This isn't about money. This is about systematic change. Karen's live stream has 21,000 viewers watching discrimination happen in real time. We're going to show them what accountability looks like, too. She opens a third screen. Stock market feeds from major airlines. Look at your competitors, Richard. American Airlines up 3.2% on news of our potential divestiture from Delta. United up 2.8%. Southwest up 4.1%. They're celebrating your mistake. The competitive implications hit like a sledgehammer. Other airlines are already positioning to absorb Washington Holdings business. My phone is ringing with offers, Richard. American's CEO wants to personally guarantee bias-free travel. United's board is drafting discrimination-proof policies. Southwest is promising dedicated executive liaison services. She holds up her buzzing phone, showing 14 missed calls from airline executives. Demand 4, Amara continues. Public apology broadcast during Super Bowl halftime. 60-second spot acknowledging systematic bias in the airline industry. Cost, $7 million for airtime alone. Plus production costs. Plus my personal appearance fee of $2 million donated to civil rights organizations. Richard's breathing becomes audible over the intercom. Dr. Washington, our shareholders... Your shareholders include me, Richard. I control 23% of votes. Would you like to call a board meeting to discuss my removal? Silence. They both know he'd lose that vote catastrophically. Final demand, she announces to the cabin and conference call simultaneously. Federal aviation regulations will be amended to include discrimination as a safety violation. I have contacts at the FAA, Transportation Department, and Senate Commerce Committee. Crew members who fail to protect passenger dignity will face the same penalties as those who ignore safety protocols. The regulatory implications stagger everyone. Discrimination just became equivalent to ignoring smoke in the cabin or failed equipment checks. Timeline for compliance: 72 hours. After that, Washington Holdings terminates all Delta contracts, divests all shareholdings, files a federal discrimination lawsuit seeking $2.4 billion in damages, and triggers industry-wide boycotts affecting $12.7 billion in annual revenue. She closes her laptop with surgical precision, but keeps one screen open, showing the real-time financial carnage her ultimatum is causing. Delta stock, down 4.1% and falling. Competitor stocks, rising as investors anticipate Washington Holdings switching partners. Washington Holdings, up 2.3% as markets applaud her decisive action. The corporate showdown is complete, but the financial earthquake is just beginning. 6 months later, the transformation is complete. Flight attendant Sarah Carter adjusts her new badge, Diversity and Inclusion Certified Class of 2025, as she greets passengers boarding Delta Flight 1247. The same route, the same aircraft, but everything else has changed. "Welcome aboard, Dr. Washington," she says with genuine warmth. "Your usual seat in 2A is ready." Amara nods, settling into the seat where her nightmare began. The Black Centurion card that once scattered across this floor now pays for scholarships at Tuskegee University's aviation program. 75 future pilots, flight attendants, and aerospace engineers who will never face what she faced. The seatback screen displays the new Equal Sky interface. A simple button. Report bias. Direct line to corporate. Response guaranteed in 3 minutes, 57 seconds average. It works. In 6 months, discrimination complaints dropped 89% across all airlines, not because bias disappeared, but because accountability arrived. The numbers tell the story of systematic transformation. 95,000 Delta employees completed bias training, 100% compliance rate. 2,847 aircraft equipped with Equal Sky reporting systems, $127 million invested in cabin monitoring technology. 847 discrimination complaints resolved with average $15,000 compensation. 0 repeat offenders among certified crew members. But statistics only capture part of the revolution. Jessica Martinez sits in her studio apartment in Riverside, California. Her airline career ended the moment she grabbed Amara's shoulder. Blacklisted industry-wide. Her pension gone. Her reputation destroyed. Her middle-class life evaporated in 30 viral minutes. But something unexpected happened during her court-mandated bias counseling. "I was raised to fear people who looked different from me," she tells the camera, recording her testimony for Delta's new training program. "My grandmother would cross the street when she saw black people walking toward her. My parents whispered warnings about those neighborhoods. I inherited their prejudices without questioning them." Her voice breaks slightly. "I let that fear turn me into someone I don't recognize. Someone who saw a successful black woman and automatically assumed she didn't belong. Someone who physically assaulted a passenger because I couldn't process that my assumptions were wrong." The video plays on screens throughout Delta's training centers, American Airlines headquarters, and United's crew facilities. Jessica now works at a community center in South Los Angeles, teaching English to immigrants, minimum wage, maximum humility. She requested the assignment. "Dr. Washington saved my life by destroying it. Because the person I was on that plane? That wasn't living. That was just surviving on hate and ignorance." Her transformation includes tangible commitments: 20 hours weekly volunteering at Immigrant Services Center, monthly bias, counseling sessions, self-funded, $200 month, speaking engagements at airline training programs, unpaid, mentoring other employees facing discrimination allegations, rebuilding her life without the toxic assumptions that defined her career. "Some people need to fall completely before they can learn to stand with dignity," she explains to her bias counseling group. "I was one of those people. But falling isn't the end. It's the foundation for becoming better." Karen Mitchell's transformation took a different, more public path. Her viral infamy cost her everything: $180,000 a year tech job, her Buckhead condo, her BMW lease, her social circle, her dating life. The lawsuit settlements drained her savings. But losing everything also freed her from the pressure to maintain appearances she couldn't afford. She lives now in a modest apartment in East Atlanta, working customer service for a small airline one that hired her specifically because of her story. Her manager, ironically, is a black woman who saw potential for redemption in Karen's very public fall from grace. "Ma'am, I understand your frustration. she tells an angry passenger on the phone. Her voice carries patience learned through public humiliation. Let me personally make sure you're taken care of. The passenger's complaint, feeling discriminated against by gate agents because of her hijab. Karen's response isn't a corporate script. It's a personal understanding of how bias feels when you're on the receiving end of assumption and judgment. I can have a supervisor meet you at the gate within 5 minutes, or I can personally handle this situation and ensure you receive the respect you deserve. Which would make you more comfortable? The irony isn't lost on her. The woman who once live-streamed discrimination now spends her days preventing it, earning $18 an hour instead of the 6-figure salary her prejudice cost her. I was Karen from the viral video, she tells new employees during bias training sessions. Yes, that Karen, the one who called a CEO ghetto trash on livestream. And I'm here to tell you that the person you become when you let prejudice drive your actions, that's not who you really are. But it might be who you become if you don't examine your assumptions. Her apartment walls hold printouts of comments from her viral moment. Not the hateful ones that initially supported her discrimination, but the ones that condemned it. Daily reminders of the person she refuses to be again. The comments she keeps visible. This is why we need bias training. How can someone be so cruel to another human? I hope she learns from this public humbling. Change starts with admitting you were wrong. Karen now speaks monthly at diversity conferences, sharing her transformation story. She donates her $500 speaking fees to civil rights organizations. I lost everything because I couldn't see a black woman's humanity, she tells audiences. But I gained something more valuable, the ability to see myself clearly and choose to be better. The businessman from Seat 1A, Robert Carter, faced a different but equally devastating reckoning. His company's $12 million contract with Washington Holdings survived, but barely. The video of him filming Amara's humiliation and nodding along with discrimination cost him his VP position and $80,000 in annual salary. Demoted to senior analyst, he now leads his company's new diversity initiatives, unpaid additional responsibilities that consume 20 hours weekly. I was a bystander to discrimination, he tells the corporate sensitivity training he's required to attend monthly. I didn't speak up because it was easier to film than to take a stand. I prioritized viral content over human dignity. That cowardice cost me my career trajectory and my self-respect. His teenage daughter won't speak to him in 6 months. She saw the video. Her friends saw it. Her social circle knows her father as the businessman who laughed at racism. Dad, how could you? She asked the day it went viral. You taught me to stand up to bullies. Then you became one. He's still working to earn her respect back. The road is long and steep, measured in consistent actions rather than apologetic words. Robert now volunteers 15 hours weekly at diversity advocacy organizations, funds a $25,000 annual scholarship for underrepresented business students, and speaks at high schools about the permanent consequences of moral cowardice. My daughter was right, he tells the student audience. I became the bully I taught her to resist. The hardest lesson of my life is that good people can do terrible things when they choose comfort over courage. Captain Rodriguez kept his job, but barely. The investigation revealed he knew about the cabin situation but chose not to intervene, prioritizing schedule adherence over passenger protection. His punishment: mandatory bias training, diversity mentorship requirements, and reduced flight schedules. He now co-pilots on routes with captains from underrepresented communities. Learning, listening, rebuilding trust, one flight at a time. I failed as a leader that day, he admits in his performance review. I prioritized avoiding conflict over protecting passenger dignity. That's not leadership, that's cowardice with authority. His salary was reduced 15% for 1 year, with the difference donated to bias prevention programs. He accepted the punishment without appeal. The systemic changes ripple far beyond individual consequences. Delta's stock price recovered within 3 months, rising 12% above its pre-incident level. The market rewarded their swift response to discrimination with increased investor confidence. Other airlines scrambled to implement similar programs. American Airlines, Clear Skies Bias Reporting System, $89 million investment. United, Dignity in Flight. Passenger Protection Protocol, $76 million budget. Southwest, Equal Journey Crew Training Requirements, $54 million program. JetBlue, Respect at Altitude. Customer Advocacy Program, $43 million initiative. The competition to be bias-free became fierce. Discrimination became bad business across the industry. Airlines began marketing their bias prevention programs as competitive advantages. The Equal Sky app now operates on 2,847 aircraft across 12 airlines. Passengers report incidents in real time. Corporate response teams track every complaint. Discrimination complaints receive CEO-level attention within 24 hours. Results after 6 months. 89% reduction in reported bias incidents. 94% passenger satisfaction with complaint. Resolution. $340 million saved industry-wide in discrimination settlements. 67% increase in minority passenger bookings. 23% improvement in employee satisfaction scores. 31% increase in customer confidence ratings. Harvard Business School's case study, The Washington Protocol, Economic Leverage for Social Change, becomes required reading in corporate ethics courses worldwide. Professor David Kim explains to his students, Dr. Washington proved that sustainable change happens through economic pressure, not emotional appeals. She didn't seek revenge. She demanded reform. She transformed personal humiliation into systematic evolution. The lesson resonates globally. Similar protocols emerge in hotels, restaurants, retail chains, and transportation networks. Economic accountability for discrimination spreads across industries like a beneficial virus. The teenage girl from Seat 3B, Madison Park, writes her college application essay about that flight. I watched a woman get humiliated for 30 minutes while I said nothing, she writes. Then I watched her transform that humiliation into industry-wide change. She taught me that silence in the face of injustice makes you complicit, but action in the aftermath of witnessing injustice can create lasting change. Madison now volunteers with civil rights organizations, leads her school's diversity club, and plans to major in civil rights law. The flight that showed her humanity's worst also inspired its best response. Her essay gets her into Yale Law School with a full scholarship. The admissions committee calls it the most powerful testament to moral awakening and social responsibility we've read. As Amara's current flight prepares for takeoff, she reflects on the transformation. 6 months ago, this same seat was a place of humiliation. Today, it's a symbol of systematic change. The market for dignity, it turns out, is remarkably profitable. 2 years later, Amara Washington stood before the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva. The same calm presence that weathered humiliation at 35,000 feet now addresses world leaders about economic accountability for discrimination. Systematic change doesn't happen through anger, she tells the Assembly. It happens through strategic pressure applied at the right leverage points. When discrimination becomes expensive, it becomes extinct. The Washington Protocol, her framework for using economic influence to combat bias, has spread beyond aviation into hospitality, healthcare, education, and retail. 12 countries have adopted variations of her model. The numbers tell the story of global transformation. 847 companies worldwide implementing bias accountability systems, $2.4 billion invested in discrimination prevention programs. 67% reduction in reported workplace bias incidents internationally, 45,000 jobs created in diversity and inclusion consulting. But the real measurement isn't in statistics, it's in stories. Today, a young Somali woman boards a flight in Minneapolis wearing her hijab with confidence, knowing that crew members are trained to see her dignity, not their assumptions. A Latino businessman presents his first-class boarding pass in Phoenix without bracing for suspicious looks or requests for additional identification. A transgender passenger uses their chosen name on their ticket in Atlanta, welcomed by staff who understand that respect isn't negotiable. These ordinary moments of dignity, previously fragile and uncertain, now feel as natural as breathing. The ripple effects extend far beyond transportation. Hotels now train staff to recognize unconscious bias in room assignments and customer service. The Marriott Corporation credits its Dignity First program with increasing customer satisfaction scores 34% among minority guests. Restaurants implement equal service protocols after realizing that discriminatory seating and service patterns were costing them millions in lost revenue and negative reviews. Retail chains discover that bias prevention training doesn't just improve customer relations, it increases sales. When customers feel respected, they spend more money and return more frequently. The business case for equality becomes undeniable. Amara's phone still contains that saved text from Karen. 1 year sobriety from hate addiction. Karen sent an update last month. 2 years clean, helping others recognize their own biases. Thank you for saving my soul by breaking my pride. Redemption, Amara learned, is a long-term investment that pays dividends in ways money can't measure. Jessica Martinez now directs bias prevention training for 3 major airlines. Her transformation from perpetrator to educator creates credibility that purely academic trainers can't match. I speak from the depths of my own shame, she tells new flight attendants. I know what it feels like to let prejudice control your actions. I also know what it takes to change. Her program achieves 94% completion rates, the highest in the industry. Robert Carter's daughter finally speaks to him again. The breakthrough came when she saw him volunteering at a civil rights fundraiser, not for publicity, but because consistent action had become his character. "Dad," she said, "you're not the same person from that video anymore." The conversation that followed lasted 4 hours. Father and daughter both changed by witnessing systematic transformation. Captain Rodriguez now trains other pilots on recognizing and interrupting bias. His motto, leadership means protecting dignity, especially when it's inconvenient. The aircraft N845MH still flies the same route. The plaque reading, "Dignity in Flight Begins Here," has become a pilgrimage site for civil rights advocates. Passengers request seat 2A specifically to honor the moment when humiliation became transformation. The teenage girl, Madison Park, graduates Yale Law School next month. Her thesis, Economic Leverage as a Tool for Social Justice, the Washington Model. She'll join the ACLU's Transportation Discrimination Unit. Dr. Washington showed me that bystanders can become change agents, Madison explains. Witnessing injustice isn't enough. You have to act on what you've seen. The viral video that started it all, Karen's live stream of discrimination, now plays in bias training sessions worldwide. But the narrative has been reframed. Instead of entertainment, it's education. Instead of viral mockery, it's viral accountability. Instead of temporary outrage, it's permanent change. The Washington Holdings Foundation has awarded 2,847 scholarships, one for each aircraft now equipped with Equal Sky reporting systems. These students study aviation, hospitality, business ethics, and civil rights law. They represent the future that discrimination cannot touch. Amara's latest project, expanding the Washington Protocol to international waters. Maritime discrimination on cruise ships and cargo vessels remains largely unregulated. Bias knows no borders, she explains to the UN Assembly. Our accountability systems must be equally global. 12 shipping companies have already committed to implementing her standards. The International Maritime Organization is drafting regulations based on her recommendations. But perhaps the most significant change is the subtlest one. Children growing up today assume that discrimination has consequences. They've never known a world where bias goes unpunished or prejudice remains profitable. 7-year-old Marcus Thompson asks his mother why people in old movies treat others differently based on skin color. They didn't know better then, his mother explains. But now they do? Yes, baby. Now they know that everyone deserves respect. And if they forget, then people like Dr. Washington remind them. This conversation happens in thousands of homes, creating a generation that views equality as the natural order, not an ongoing struggle. The economic incentive structure has fundamentally shifted. Companies compete to be bias-free because discrimination has become a liability that shareholders won't tolerate. Bias is bad for business. Respect is profitable. This is how systematic change happens, not through individual hearts and minds, but through institutional structures that make the right choice also the smart choice. Your turn to act. Share your own experiences with travel discrimination in the comments below. Whether on planes, trains, buses, or in hotels, your story could spark the next wave of systematic change. If this transformation inspired you, subscribe to Black Voices Uncut for more stories of quiet courage changing entire systems. And remember, the next time you witness discrimination, you have a choice. Stay silent and stay complicit, or speak up and become part of the solution. What will you choose? The seat next to you might hold someone whose dignity depends on your decision. The smartphone in your pocket might document injustice that changes an entire industry. The voice you use today might echo in policy changes for decades. Dr. Amara Washington proved that one moment of humiliation can become a lifetime of transformation, but only if someone has the courage to turn pain into power. That someone could be you.
Reality isn't always easy to hear, but that's exactly why we tell it. At Black Voices Uncut, we go beyond the surface, showing what others won't. If you value unfiltered truth, hit like, comment your perspective, and subscribe. Every voice matters, and every truth deserves to be heard.